What's happening, my good people? You already know what time it is. Today is Tuesday, which means it's update day on our picks and fantasy, and I'm back again updating you all. Let's just go ahead and let's jump right in. This week I started out 8-7. Damien started out 7-8, and Bam Bam started out 8-7 as well. Um, just taking a look at the top at our picks. I am now 17-4. Damien now 13-18. He needs some work on that. Bam Bam 17-4. He just can't seem to pick differently from me. We always pick one game different, and we each end up winning one game that we chose differently. So jumping right in, Chiefs beat Chargers. Thursday Night Football, we all chose Chiefs. Chiefs took that win. The next game, I chose New York Giants. Damien chose Carolina. Bam Bam also chose the Giants. So Damien's the only one taking the loss on that one. We all chose LA, Inglewood, Rams. Rams took the win, almost gave that one up. Then we all chose the Raiders, and we had the Raiders. The Raiders were doing so good. We thought the Raiders were going to win. We thought this pick was locked. And then the Raiders blew their biggest lead in franchise history. They just blew it at the very end of the game. So, oh well. Damien and I chose Washington Commanders, and Bam Bam chose the Lions. The Lions did win, so he gets that win. We all chose Pittsburgh Steelers. We were all wrong. Pittsburgh lost by 3 points. Bam Bam and I chose the Niners. So over here, we're Niner fans. I don't know why Damien decided to go with Seattle for this one, but he ended up losing that one. Bam Bam and I get the win for that one. We all chose Green Bay. They ended up doing the Bears in. Thankfully, the Bears think they're on to something. They're not. They're still trash. It was a fluke, whatever. Here we go again with another blown lead. Browns were up 30-17 and just blew their lead late in the fourth quarter. So that's a loss for us all. We all chose up there in Ohio. We all chose the Colts. I might have to start reevaluating the Colts and how I see them. They lost 27-0 against the Jaguars. I saw a stat the other day. They've been shut out by the Jaguars the last 3 times they played them. 2018, 2020, and I think 2022. Oh no, I think 2021 last year. Three straight times they've been shut out by the Jaguars, which is crazy because they haven't been good for a while. We all chose Cincinnati. I think it's time to start reevaluating Cincinnati as well. They are experiencing extreme Super Bowl hangover, but I don't really know if it's Super Bowl hangover. I don't know what the term is because they did lose in the Super Bowl. So I don't know what the term is for that. But they lost again. We all chose them. We all lost. Cincinnati lost to the Cowboys and their backup QB because I think Dak Prescott is coming out. And then last week they lost to Pittsburgh, couldn't hit field goals. Titans, same thing. We need to start reevaluating the Titans and how we see them. They were the number 1 seed in the AFC last season, but they've lost. Oh, they got destroyed yesterday against Buffalo. Buffalo destroyed. I think it was 41-7 in the third quarter. Buffalo didn't score in the fourth. They took out all their starters. On offense, Diggs was out by the third quarter. Josh was out. They were all out. Got the backup QB some reps. I destroyed them. Titans are now 0-2 after losing this game and to the Giants last week. And moving on, we have Bucks and Saints. We all chose the Bucks. We all get that win. This game was crazy. Another blown lead by the Ravens. They were up 35-14, I believe. And then they allowed 28 straight unanswered points in the fourth quarter and lost 42-35. 35. Tua with 6 touchdowns, 470 yards. He went completely off that game. At the very, very end, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. I don't know what the Ravens defense were doing. I guess they thought that they had a big enough lead and they can just chill and not cover anymore, but they blew it. 28 points in the fourth quarter unanswered. Sad. And Lamar did great that game. Yeah, like a 79-yard run for a touchdown in that game. Lamar played great. Defense, man. And then Denver, again, almost losing to the Texans. I think they got a late touchdown. I think it might have been close the whole game. But the Texans, Denver? Russ, what are you doing? You barely squeaked out a win against the Texans? Really? Wow. Okay. We all chose Russ and the Broncos, so we all get the win there. And I am the only person I'm the only person who chose the Eagles. I know for Bam Bam, it is grayed out for both. That's just because I made a mistake and accidentally made it to where he chose the Eagles. But really, he and Damien both chose the Vikings. So they both took a loss there. I take the win there in the Eagles. So again, for this week, I am 17-14. Damien is 13-18, and Bam Bam, trying to be like me, is also 17-14. Moving on to fantasy football for this week, I took a dub against Bam Bam. We're just gonna call it Bam Bam. I took a dub. Last week, I didn't actually show Bam Bam because I'm gonna go over to Damien's game real quick. We have a robot, so you can only do even number leagues. So we just made a robot. We just gave them a bunch of running backs. Only have running backs on that team. So there's just I think there's only like 3 starting running backs. So that's just a guaranteed win every week when you're playing against the running back. This week, Damien played against the running back. Last week, Bam Bam played the running back. So Damien is 2-0. Damien beat me last week and then beat the robot this week because that's a guaranteed win. Going back over to my game, I am now 1-1 because I did end up beating Bam Bam. Bam Bam is also 1-1 because he played against the robot last week. I will be 1-2 next week because I got the robot next week. So, but talking about this game, I put up 145 against his 128. By the time, if you look at the chart, he's blue, I'm red. By the time the Sunday night games were over, as you can see down here, I was down 60. He had 121. I had 61 points by the time all the Sunday night games ended. So unless Derrick Henry, Josh Allen, and Diggs could accumulate 60 plus points and Dalvin Cook could stay under, I would lose. But that's what ended up happening. Josh Allen put up 30 points for me on his own. That's what I needed. That's just what I needed to tie. No, it's not. It's not true. I needed 60 to tie. Josh Allen put up 30. He got it for me. Trey Lance, we all know what happened in that game. Only put up 2 fantasy points, and then in the first quarter had that season-ending injury. Prayers for Trey Lance. Dalvin Cook for Bam Bam. Boom, only 7.60. Didn't have the best game. 17 rushing yards, 19 receiving yards in the loss to the Eagles. I had Saquon Barkley, who did absolutely nothing for me this week. Also, I had Jonathan Taylor, who also did absolutely nothing for me this week. My running backs this week were atrocious. They did nothing to help me win. He had Nick Chubb, who had an amazing game, 3 rushing touchdowns, but the Browns defense blew that game. Debo had 14. Devontae in that loss had only 9.20. And then Diggs, my MVP. I will never not choose Stephon Diggs in a fantasy football league. In our fantasy football league, you will always see me with Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs won in the first league we did, the very first year. Stephon Diggs won me the championship. Here he is. carrying my fantasy football team again. He put up 44 points that game in 3 quarters. Took him out in the fourth. 148 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. I was going off when I saw he was just catching the ball constantly, going deep, catching deep bombs in the end zone. Thank you, Stefan, carrying my fantasy team. Jamar Chase only put up 10 in that loss. Mark Andrews had a really good game. Wait, Mark Andrews had 104. I thought that said 3 rushing touchdowns, 104 receiving yards and a touchdown, 25 points in that loss that they blew. Darren Waller had a pretty average game, 50 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown, 17 points for me. Derrick Henry, another running back who did absolutely nothing for me, only 8 points. Derrick Henry, I don't want to give up on him yet, but this is back-to-back weeks where he hasn't even put up 10 points. And I'm starting to, maybe he's getting older, definitely. Coming off of the injury, maybe he's just not the same anymore. I mean, when you struggle against the Giants defense, I can understand the Bills defense. I can understand the Bills defense. But when you struggle against the Giants defense in week one, I don't know. And then you struggle again back to back. They put in the backup running back in the third quarter. And I believe by the time, they took Derrick Henry out as well. Like after they were down 41-7 in the third quarter, they took Henry out. They took Ryan Tannehill out because he couldn't stop throwing picks, put in Malik Willis, put in the backup running back. And I think by the time the third quarter was over, he had already had more rushing yards than Derrick Henry in that game, but I'm not sure. I know by the time the game was over, he had more rushing yards, but I'm not sure if it was the quarter ending or not. And Brandon Ayuk had 11 points in the win. Robbie Gould had 9, had 1 blocked. Justin Tucker had 10 points. Broncos defense, 9 points, 3 sacks. They are now 9 points. They got 3 sacks. They only won 16-9. I think it was close the whole game. And I think they scored a late touchdown to go up 16-9. And 49ers defense, 15 points, 2 picks, 1 fumble recovery, 2 sacks, both Nick Bosa. Yes, sir. Only allowed 1 point, actually. Yeah, because of the extra point. So, because their touchdown was off of a blocked kick from Robbie Gould. Really, I think we should have won that game like 40-0. If we didn't have the blocked kick and I know we ended up going for it on 4th and 8 at one point instead of kicking the field goal. I don't know. We had a lot of opportunities to get more points, but we still ended up beating Seattle by 20. Ended the week 145, 128. Looking at our benches, Bills defense had 20 points off the bench. Yeah, that's it. So, thank you everybody so much for watching. Please leave a like on the video for sure. Comment down below. Tell me what you thought was nice, what you didn't. I might read it. I might not. Subscribe. Trying to hit 400 subs by the end of October. By Halloween. By Halloween, that's our goal. 400. And yeah, that's all from me. Y'all be safe.